Welcome to the space between. These days, it really feels like so much is shifting beneath our feet. The stories we believed, the systems we've trusted, even the identities we've built can suddenly feel so different. So I'm asking one question. What do you actually believe? Welcome to the space between. We are awakening. We are awakening as human beings, as things, organic matter living on planet Earth. It is the age of awakening. As I record this episode, it is July 29th, 2026, which is one of the most charged and auspicious energetic days of all of the calendar year, as well as the energetic new year, which runs from March to March, the energetic year. And I wasn't going to record when I woke up. I woke up feeling like I needed to record something, and I kind of pushed that aside. I did some breathing this morning, and I really felt and have been feeling that this is an extremely pivotal time and a pivotal day on planet Earth. So I opened up my YouTube. I love YouTube and I watch it a lot. And there was Steve Judd. He is an astrologer of, I believe, over 50 years. He's been doing this a very long time. And he had a video, and I'll link it below, on the full moon in Aquarius, which just happened at 10:35 a.m. Eastern time. So the moon is conjunct Pluto today, as well as the sun conjunct Jupiter in Leo. There's a lot of other things happening in the sky. We're entering an eclipse portal. There's a Cazimi. There's things with Chiron. There's a lot going on in the sky. And what I couldn't help but shake is this awakening that we are having. We no longer are buying in to the bullshit that we have been fed. And I know I have been talking about this for a very long time. And what I want to talk about today and to dive in is, what do I actually mean when I say that? And how is that impacting all the beings and things that live on this planet, right? This kind of unearthing. If you think about the full moon, right? The moon is conjunct Pluto. So Aquarius represents the collective, represents communication, it represents technology, like all of those things together. We also just came out of Mercury retrograde. So Mercury is going direct now, which is the planet that rules communication as well. So there is a lot of movement and a lot of energy. And what Steve was talking about was how these energies will impact all of the chaos and all of the unearthing that we have already been seeing. So when I talk about chaos and I talk about unearthing, so many of you will resonate with life is no longer what it used to be. The footing and the foundations, the education system, the government, the way that humans treated each other, the kind of, again, that foundation that we were made to buy into is now broken and cracked. That foundation no longer exists, right? And I'm going to get into kind of what that means. And I think a lot of people have been asking me, well, what exactly do you mean by this awakening? And that's really what I want to focus on today. So you take that foundation, you're born into a family or some sort of structure who teaches you how to behave in the world. Things like, and this is at least for me, how I was taught, always tell the truth, be nice to other people, treat people how you would want to be treated, respect your elders, respect, public figures, respect to the police. Like there was all these kind of mores and norms that were instilled in us. And as we see so many structures collapsing, I'll go through them now. our financial system. All of the money is being funneled to the top. It's unsustainable. That is not the way it was when I was born in 1980. If you were born before that, it was even less that way. So we have this sort of financial structure that is crumbling under the weight of allowing all of the people at the top to take, and extract. Okay. Healthcare. We are beings in human form. We need to be able to care for our health. Look at where that has gone, right? People are being crippled under medical debt. It's very hard to even get a doctor's appointment these days. I had a situation earlier this year. They were trying to steal money from people, is essentially what they were doing. So, again, with that extraction, right? It's like, oh, give us all this money, but we're not going to give you the care that you need. And we're not going to serve you as you deserve to be served, right? When you think about the way that going to the doctor used to be. Let's think about the way we consume things. For so long, every single moment of watching a television or listening to the radio was an advertisement for you to buy something. And before that, it was someone coming around on a horse and buggy trying to sell you shit. And now, if you think about the way it is currently, we are being tracked. Everything we buy, Google knows what we're doing. All of the retailers that we shop with, it's all about data. It's all about analytics so that they can extract more money from us to keep us as a cog in the economic wheel. If we keep spending, the money keeps going to the top, and then that's the goal, right? As it stands today. Again, unsustainable, but that's the way things stand today. If you think about our education system, when I went to school and people that are older than me went to school, school was something to be revered. Teachers were respected. The education system, a lot of talk, right, about our children. We have to make sure our children are educated. Well, cut to now when schools and the education system has been stripped of so much funding. And in just my personal belief, that the dumbing down of America is very much by design. If you have a group of people who are not educated, right, they won't know to ask questions and they will just fall in line, all for the greater good of the economy and to kind of keep us spending and to keep us disconnected. So I could go on and on with many different things. I think what I would challenge the listeners is to think about the structures and the systems that you're involved in and how that has changed. And it just seems like more and more people that I know, that I talk to, that I engage with a podcast are waking up to this bullshit. People are not well. They're not emotionally well. They're not physically well, spiritually well. They are unwell. We are unwell as an Earth population. Mother Earth is very unwell, okay? The animals and the beings that inhabit that aren't human are unwell. And so the way that this society, this Earth society, has been working is not anymore. The way it operates, again, unsustainable. So in this kind of very charged energetic day where you have Aquarius, Aquarius is extremely community oriented. It is very much about the we of the entire earth, not just the few at the top, not just humans, right, who have just been extracting in patriarchy. That is conjunct Pluto. And Pluto's a mirror, right? Pluto is a planet that will really show you what is going on and shine a light, because these Aquarian principles, we are not operating as a planetary society. And so Pluto is really shining that. And the only way that things are really going to change is when enough people wake up to all of this that has been done by design in order to give power and money and an economy to the very top. And by the way, guys, this is nothing. If you look at history, the Roman Empire comes to mind. This is not the first time this has happened. And so the question is, what will we do as people that are living under this collective society? What will we do? And those are the things that I want you to take away from this episode, right? What is actually breaking down? And what are you believing in that breakdown that you probably didn't believe before? I started thinking about this today in this energy, and it was very present even before I turned my YouTube on and saw, Steve Judd and what he had to say, which we'll link below. But there is this ripple of a collective unconscious on planet Earth, and there always has been, right? And what I like to call that is sort of this invisible operating system. And the operating system will tell you that you don't have any power. You're just one person, so you can't actually do anything. Well, look what some of those singular people have been able to do and are trying to do, right? Peter Thiel's of the world, the Elon Musk's of the world, Jeff Bezos of the world. They're singular people. Interesting, huh? But that's not for you. That's only for them. Think about it, right? The word power comes to mind on a day like today. I grew up personally thinking that, and my parents instilled this in me, I can do and be anything I want. That was very laughable as I entered the world as a woman. Every single job I had in corporate America, which I had many, I was making, and I found out this to be true quite a few times, significantly less than male counterparts. And it's nothing compared to what women of color make compared to me. Again, the ripple of this invisible operating system that we all just bought into. I think about success, right? I was told if you work really hard, you can have a good life. Not anymore. How many people out there are working 2 and 3 jobs just to scrape by and have really nothing to show for it? No financial safety net, no life that they feel lit up by. This is a very, very common thing, and it's only getting worse. Leadership. Look at who's leading. Look who's leading the United States right now. Look who is leading the financial markets right now. Look who is leading the charge on AI. Think about your own communities. Who are the leaders in your own communities? Leadership is changing because leadership is not about control. And one of the reasons that we sit here in this specific energy is because there are so few at the top trying to control everyone. Think about all of, again, these invisible kind of stories that we're told. Exercise that might be helpful is to write down some of what comes into your head, right? What were you told as a child? What are you still being told today? And ask yourself, those things are actually true. Let's go back to the productivity thing. Yes, this is a third dimensional physical plane, and we need to, in order to see some sort of result, we're not in a density where, like I Dream of Jeannie, you can just close your eyes and then something pops up. Not yet. I'm sure that exists somewhere. but not here and not right now. But do we have to hustle? Right? This hustle culture, this constant need to be busy, this constant need to have more goals and more things on our checklist. We are overworked and we're exhausted. So I'm rewriting what that means. And it's really hard. When you start realizing the stories that you're told that are not true anymore, it's not like you can just walk away from what you've been doing. It's ingrained in us. When I think about even just the busyness piece of my life, if I were to sit here tomorrow, which is a Thursday, and not do anything, I would be extremely stressed out. I would be thinking about all of the things I should be doing and all of the checklists that I'm not going to be able to complete and all of the tasks that sit in my CRM. I don't care who you are or what you do or what type of life you have. There's way too much. And a busy, disconnected group of people is a group of people that are much more easily manipulated. And so I hope you're starting to see some of these threads, right? Taking time to sit and think about what you've been told seems kind of strange. But if the goal is to really figure out how we shift things on planet Earth, we can't do that if we're still buying in to all of the stories we were told, which are turning out to be not true. Before we can even start thinking about what is true, we have to look at what is no longer true. So some of the things that I know is no longer true for me, just for me, is I am not going to buy into this uber consumerist culture anymore. I am not going to buy shit that I don't need just so that I can continue to funnel money into the hands of people that are trying to control a population and extract everything from this planet. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's a daily, sometimes moment to moment choice. I don't always succeed, but I'm doing a lot better. And I'm using my discernment with what that means and what I want to support financially. What does it mean to be a business person, right? Well, I just have to keep scaling my company and I have to have more. No, I'm rewriting what that looks like for me. Yes, we want to serve more people. Yes, I want to have a bigger impact and be able to help more with all of the businesses that I have. That should be enough. I want to be happy at work. I don't want to feel like the things that I'm doing are going against what I believe in. I'm finding, especially, shout out to my entrepreneurs, I'm finding that if it doesn't align with what lights me up and what makes me feel good and what aligns with the mission of my businesses, I'm not doing it. I don't care how much money or visibility or sales or whatever it brings me. I'm not doing it because it's not me and it doesn't feel right. So much of this is that feeling, what feels icky, what feels right. I'm no longer supporting people that are trying to end life on planet Earth. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm very into music. I'm very into books. I was very into celebrity culture. I was somebody that found that really interesting. I'm hardly supporting anyone these days. There's very, very few people that I support. And that's a big change. And a lot of it is just these kind of feelings that you have. If I'm getting the ick for someone or something, I'm not giving them my attention. I'm not giving them my money. I'm not giving them my time. I'm going to keep that for myself, right? Politically, what has happened not only here in the US, especially in the US, but across the globe, is incredibly sad. We have governments that are using our money and our attention and our resources to continue in endless wars, to not help the people who need the most help, right? We're just going to forget about them. Hopefully, they just perish and we don't have to worry about them. A government, no matter what type of government you believe in, should be there to serve the greater good of a collective group of people. Doesn't matter what type of government. All types of government were started with good intentions, and then greed and all of that got in the way. I find myself really talking to people about anything that's political should be in the frame of humanity, right? Because if it's just political, it becomes divisive. It becomes something that people can fight over. If we take that lens, that term out of it, right? Then we can actually have a conversation. Then we can actually talk about what should be happening that's not. And the one thing I think we can all agree on is this is not working for anyone except very few people. And if you're someone that is still so bought into one specific way of doing things, I ask you this, why? Why? There's no one way. That we know. I'm rewriting who I want to be and how I want to be within my family structure, within my marriage, within my relationships. I have a lot of seventh house placements. That's partnership. And most of my chart is in the seventh house. Leo sun, Aquarius rising, Virgo moon, a ton of placements in my seventh house. And I'm rewriting what that means to be a best friend, a wife, a daughter, a sister. I'm also being a lot more visible with my podcast and speaking out about the things that I observe and my perspective during this time of great change, awakening, and transformation. That's not easy either. And there's so many times when I don't want to do this or record or whatever, and I push through because I believe that we can change all of this. Everything I've been talking about, we can change on this extremely charged, energetic day, which is asking us, what do you believe? And with those beliefs, what are you going to do or not do? What actions are you going to take? That is ultimately what this day and what this year and what the past few years are asking of us. Post-COVID, we've been in a time warp. You think about that, it's like, wow, 6 years post-COVID. Look at how much has changed. And this is going to continue. This rapid change, rapid transformation. And you can just get caught up into it. You can get caught up in what the powers that be on this planet want you to think, want you to feel, want you to do. Or you can stop and you can ask yourself, what do I believe about the things around? That's the first step. Challenging what we've been told to be true. It's not easy. My chart lends itself to that. So I do find this exhilarating, where I think a lot of people find this very stressful and traumatizing. I understand why. You know, I think a lot of people feel that they didn't sign up for this. I signed up for one life. I thought things were this way, and now they're this way. I didn't sign up for this. But I believe that we all have. And the only way we are going to see real positive change for the planet as a whole is if we lock into why we are here. Every single one of us came with a mission. We came with a reason. I don't believe that we're just here by happenstance. And it is difficult right now. Again, what do you believe to be true now? There's a lot of loneliness that will come when you start to realize that something you always thought was true was a lie. Think about it, right? This full moon conjunct Pluto, the sun, Leo, conjunct Jupiter, just shining, all of that. We can't look away. So you can either process it and decide for yourself what this means, or you can just keep jumping in the pond with what others are going to tell you this means for you. I'm not here to tell anybody what they should do or not do. I am speaking to provide a perspective that is asking you to be curious and to question these things. It's a part of my purpose and why I'm here. Be kind to yourself throughout these times. I will say that this is the peak energy of the year. Things have been really wild and really crazy, internationally, at home, in our own personal lives. It will get a little bit lighter, but the awakening is not going to stop. Cut yourself a break. I'm definitely making sure that I'm resting, even though there's guilt there. That's another thing, right? Rest. We were told that rest was for the weak. At least I was. Rest is required, especially during these times. But what is real for you? We're all here shooting our own movie. What is your real? Right? Everyone's is different. So I will leave you with this. What is the truth for you versus what we were conditioned and told to believe? What is your intuition telling you versus what you've been programmed? That's a big one. What is your true purpose versus what you think you need to achieve to be successful? Whose life are you really living? And is this actually a life that feels like mine? I am thinking about that every day. There is a freedom in figuring out why you're here. We can all achieve that. That's an achievement. Because when you are in your purpose, you are living a life of passion, there's a fire inside of you. A fire that feels very strong today. So I'm sending you guys lots of love. And we'll see you very soon in the space between. Thank you for joining us in the space between. Please like and subscribe to the podcast and share this episode with someone you think will resonate with it. We will see you very soon in the space between.